Welcome back, everyone. Welcome back to another day, a second qualifier here for Star Wars 11 Korean Open Qualifier number 2. I'm, of course, your Live VIP, and with me, I'm joined by my lovely plushies, the people in the chat, and these amazing players as well. Exclamation mark B in the chat if you guys want to have a look at the brackets as... Oh, never mind. If you guys want to have a look at the bracket yourselves, as we do have to restart very quickly here before we dive into our first series. But again, it is a bracket full of players, and there are some that are missing, which is a little bit concerning. A little bit. So again, for those that are curious, there were only 2 qualifiers. There are only 2 qualifiers for the Korean qualifier. These 2 qualifiers give you access to the closed qualifier and then the main event thereafter. There are no invites. There's only one. There's only one invited player, and that is Oliveira. He's the reigning world champion. So Oliveira has been invited to the main event. Everyone else has to qualify. Speaking of, 2 days ago, we did host the first Korean qualifier, and we had players like Maru qualify. We had not just Maru, we had Cure, we had Stats, and we had Hero. 2 Terrans and 2 Protoss players did qualify through the first open qualifier, and now we need to get through the second. And I'm concerned because there's one player that did not show up for any of them, and it may be because of his military service. That is Dark. Dark did not show up for either one of these qualifiers, so he will not be a part of StarsWar 11. As for those who do not know, this is an offline event that is happening in the land of China next month. The qualifiers are in March. The main event is in April. So there's a lot of StarCraft to have here. And again, unfortunately, if you see a Korean player that didn't qualify through day 1 and isn't here in day 2, then they will not be a part of the main events. But here we go, spawning in the bottom right hand corner of Oceanborn. We have our first player. We have the South Korean Terran player, the blue Terran representing himself. It is Bunny. And spawning in the top left hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the red Zerg player, also representing himself, currently teamless. It is soO. Here we go. But yeah, a lot of really high caliber players have arrived here tonight. We have players like R2 here, soO and Bunny. We have Shin, we have DRG, Solar, Classic, Ryung, Gumiho, Byun, Nightmare, and Creator. They've all rocked up here, but only 4. Only 4 players will make it through this open qualifier into the closed qualifier. That's what's brutal about this setup. 1, single elimination. 2 is that it's all best of 3s, and only 4 players will make it through. And this is just a qualifier for a qualifier. This isn't even for the main event. We still have to trim through our players and cut them in half again and again. Until then, we do have Bunny going for a Rax Expand stand set up here from our Terran player. Meanwhile, soO going for a Hatch Gas Pool. And a big reason why I wanted to dive on this is because we had a very surprising result. If you were here for it 2 days ago, during the first Korean qualifier, you would know that there was a big upset. There was a big upset that happened. In round 1 of the first Korean qualifier, there was a player eliminated. A player that's here today. That was Gumiho. Gumiho got eliminated in the first round by who? By soO. soO 2-0'd Gumiho 2 days ago. And that was crazy, by the way. We weren't casting it, unfortunately. We were focusing on other series and other matchups. But the fact that soO took down Gumiho, we don't know what happened. We don't know what kind of games were had. We don't know if Gumiho was playing mech. We don't know if Gumiho was cheesing, proxying, going for 2 base all-ins, which he does whip out from time to time. Or if it was standard play. So I'm excited. I'm excited to see, alright soO, what do you got? So show us the player that 2-0'd Gumiho. Can we make another deep run in this qualifier? Likewise, Bunny has been on fire recently. Bunny, in the GSL qualifiers of this season, took down Dark. Bunny took down Dark in the GSL qualifiers. Bunny also is the only player that took down Shin at IEM Katowice in the group stage, as well in the TVZ matchup. Bunny did what Clem couldn't, what Cure couldn't. So both these players in this matchup are looking really strong right now. And we did feature Bunny in the first Korean qualifier. And Bunny was hyper aggressive, if you remember. Bunny, he was very aggressive off of 2 and 3 base play. And Bunny made Solar sweat. So, I recommend watching the VODs, but to quickly recap what happened in the first qualifier when we casted Bunny versus soO, is that when soO opened up Standard and when soO went into double Evo chamber before Lair into like a greedy economic opener, like Bunny was so quick to punish him, had so much momentum on his side, Bunny was so fast and soO could not keep up. That was when soO was cutting corners and being a little bit more economic, and I'm keeping my eye on soO to see if he does the same, because Bunny is doing something very similar, just like what he did against soO. Only 4 of these Hellions have been produced, only 4 Hellions. We do have a 5th and 6th Hellion on the way, into 3CC, into Liberator as a follow-up here, not even going Viking by the way, so a little bit risky, a little bit greedy out of Bunny, skipping that Viking, but going for overall a 3CC into a 1-1-1, pretty standard opener so far. Outside of the fact that we're opting to go for Liberator instead of Banshee. And we did skip that Viking. So the Liberator is going to be a little bit faster here for Bunny. Again, he's just applying pressure, trying to be as assertive as possible. Now we're getting up to 6 Hellions. And behind this, soO is going Lair first. Lair first, very safe opener. With this Lair, it leads into a Baneling Nest. There it is. Leads into Baneling Speed. Leads into delayed 1-1 upgrades. So soO's upgrade is going to be a little bit later in favor of just a secure position here on 3 bases with his Baneling Nest, with Baneling Speed. It's a very safe way to get into this. Meanwhile, Liberator does rock up into the main. Does Siege is going to be getting a couple of drone kills. soO, late reaction. Yeah, 5 drones go down as the Hellions, they dip in. They roast up a couple of drones here at the 3rd base as well. Very nice damage by Bunny, pulling soO apart. Re-sieging once again into the main. Oh, doesn't quite get the queen. Not quite. Likewise, Hellions, they threaten a dive, but once again, they should be deflected. Regardless, 5 drone kills was very nicely done here by Bunny. From here, he can just back off, retreat, and focus on the next step. 3rd base. 3rd base is getting up and running. We're getting into our 5-rack setup with 2 more on the way. We're still on 6 Hellion, and we at least get eyes on the next base. Did I say 6? I meant to say 8. 8 Hellion here from Bunny. Liberator rocks up. We're looking to force a cancel on this base, and we're gonna get it. Yeah, soO does not have enough to stop this, and his base is gonna be canceled. Oh, there we go. We barely do cancel in time. Queen's Age, try to catch some of the Hellions. It looks like maybe we can get one. Oh, we get 1 Hellion in the retreat. But I'm concerned. 1, a Ling run by runs into reinforcements. The Lings, they get cleaned up, and Bunny has momentum. He denied the 4th. The 4th that was about to finish, and soO, he has to double expand. There it is. We're taking the 4th and the 5th base at the same time. soO has to catch back up. The problem is that now Bunny has momentum, and he should be going for a tank push soon. Should soon be moving out with his tanks with 1-1, and his goal is to once again deny the 4th. That's kind of his win condition, or his way to just keep a lead and keep ahead in this game, is to deny these bases. Things they come in for us around. We got 2 more Hellions. 2 more Hellions go down. soO gonna be backing off, spreading a big portion of that creep. Keeping it up and running. Meanwhile, okay, so instead of going for a push, and we could have moved out with our tanks, we could have moved out with our bio, we could have rocked up here and reinforced these Hellions, but no, Bunny, he keeps his tanks back at home. He's getting a 4CC, a very macro-oriented game here out of Bunny, and he's just going for some drop harass. Lings, they try to rock up, but oh, there's plenty in position to defend. We clean up those Lings at the same time. Across the map, Ling main is in position, so soO, he will hold on to his fringe bases for the time being. Does hold on to them. And yeah, Bunny, he's taking a very different approach, and I think it might just be because, again, soO, he's more of a returning player here. His result of 2-0ing Gumiho was very impressive. Maybe Bunny heard about it, but he's being very passive. Very passive here. He's applying a little bit of pressure here and there, but we're chilling back at home, getting a 4th sensor tower on the way as well as we go for some Liberator harass. But you can see here that Bunny is in no rush when it comes to actually moving out. So a much more reserved approach this time from Bunny. Primorse in Hellbats. Do have Drilling Claws on the way, plus 2 attack alongside plenty of other upgrades. So it looks like Liberator finally does fall, but that Liberator did more than pay for itself. We've killed 10 workers already this game. A lot of them due to that Lib. So Bunny in a pretty good position. He's in a pretty good place. Blackwag's going to be pushing on the right-hand side. Banelings, ooh, they crash into the Hellbats, but not much else as Bunny's going for a split push. He drops into towards the natural at the same time, getting ready for another double jump on the right-hand side. Takes down a Queen, getting a second Queen as well. The transfuse a little bit too late. soO, he will hold on to his mineral line. He will hold on to his bases, but it has lost a lot of Queens. And the drop play does continue. Drones are going down. Yeah, soO a little bit distracted on the right-hand side, which means 8 workers fall. An Overlord as well. And Bunny, he is getting damage done. Doesn't look like a loss, but that's a lot of lost mine time. That is soO with a hindered economy. With a worse economy than the Terran. And with that, Bunny is maxed out. Bunny, he is maxed. soO is 1 step behind. Again, he's trying to build up. We have Lings on the way. Hive Tech about to finish up. Lurker Den on the horizon here to get into Lurker production and Lurker upgrades. But we still need more time. And now Bunny is finally going to move out with his main army. For the first time this game, at the 10-minute mark, he's not harassing, but he's moving out with what he has. Leaving some reinforcements back at home. Still has drops active on the map. Here he is. Gets a Queen, the Ling Bane being zoned away as well. Decent Baneling connections. Decent Widow Mines as well. We did connect towards the end with those Banelings. But Bunny, he has enough to keep pushing. Meanwhile, there was a drop attempted here at the natural, but it was cleaned up. Still a double drop here in between the bases. We can see soO setting up a surround. And the Widow Mines are still on cooldown. Yeah, we just collapsed on the army. We clean up the tanks. We collapse here on the Widow Mines as well. And we will clean most of this up. soO having a rough engagement here. He does harass across the map. He will get a couple of drones. But his main army has fallen. He needs a little bit of time to remax. Gets 3 drones, but that is still not ideal. And so far the defense here by soO is looking pretty good. Cleans up the tanks, cleans up the medevacs. Only loses 3 of those drones. He's still on 83, still a respectable drone count. And soO is now reaching that Lurker tech. Meanwhile, Bunny is going to be stuck at home. Now, what I will say, though, is that he's pretty heavily fortified. Like, we have turrets, we have sensor towers, planetaries on the way. A 5th base, soon to be up and running. Or it is now up and running. The pressure is now on soO. The pressure is on the Zerg player to put a stop to what Bunny is up to. Just not so sure he can. Bunny once again moving out. The Lurkers have been revealed. But now we're the Lurker tech. Oh! Ooh. Good mine shot here on the Lings. But behind this we have Liberators on the way. Ghost, Liberator range as well. Again, Bunny's already working on his anti-Lurker army. Like, sure, soO, he may have Lurkers, but what do you need against him? Ah, Libs and Ghosts. That's exactly what Bunny is working towards. As we catch a base. And we force a cancel on the hatchery. We get a Queen. And we're getting even more than that. We're gaining quite a bit of ground at the same time, but you have a massive Dune drop here into the natural. Lurkers are here. Vipers, they can attempt to yoink a parasitic bomb. But we lose the base. Oh, soO getting pulled apart. This drop, it denied 2 bases, killed 1, canceled the other. Baneling run back comes in, we get 12 SCVs. A good amount of SCV damage, but the base survives. Planetary does live. Bunny does weather the storm. How many Lurkers do we have? 4. Only 4 Lurkers. That's not a lot. We have at least 4 Lunkers. soO moving out, splitting up his army, trying to keep up with Bunny. Likewise, this entire time, we're just making non-stop Liberators and Ghosts. We're just, yep, banking them up back at home. There they are. The libs and the ghosts. Things they attempt to collapse on the army. They get a marauder before being forced back. Likewise, a bunny pushing forward. Lane Bane going to engage. We do catch a decent chunk of marauders, and we're getting on top of the ghosts. We're trying to at least. Ghosts are going to be cutting back. They do survive. More Lane Bane is left over though. Threatens the ghost, heads towards the natural instead, and we cut the ghost off from that natural base. Oh, these Hydras and Lurkers are going to go down though. Yeah, it's going to be expensive trade here for soO. Meanwhile, he's breaking in. The Banelings, they get into a mineral line. Big connections here in the mineral line. 23 SCVs go down. soO, he is getting economic damage done. And soO, he has a bank, he can remax. He's breaking the defenses here of Bunny. Now, Bunny did retain a lot of his ghosts. You can see here that if we look at the resources lost tab, only 4 ghosts died, 2 liberators as well. But what's important here is that Bunny did lose his economy. soO didn't. soO can remax as long as he has the larva. As long as he has larva, he can remax. Bunny, after taking that blow, he's stuck at home. Is going to be stuck at home. Liv's doing what they can. I believe 2 liberators just got picked off. More Vipers on the way. Corruptors as well. soO building up, working towards Corruptors and soon to be a Greater Spire, I imagine. Just for some more consistent anti-air as the Lane Bane rolls on past the Liberation Zone's freedom. We don't even care. And the ghosts are exposed. A good portion of them go down. A big catch there for soO. He gets the ghost. He will not get the planetary, but that was worth it. That should have been worth it for soO. I mean, it looks like it is going to trigger a counterattack. How many ghosts was that? 11. 11 ghosts going down. That was massive. We are down to 5. We're down to only 5 ghosts. We will get a kill in this base. It should go down. Ooh, not just the base, but most, if not every drone. 13 drones, they get a kill in the hatchery. Very nice counter push here from Bunny. And I assume that soO had a bit of a larger bank, but it looks like soO has burned through that bank, at least the mineral side. He has plenty of gas, but the minerals are lacking. And Bunny remaxes, soO doesn't. I'm a little bit in shock here. Like, again, I do think that previous fight was good for soO, but clearly he just doesn't have the economy to back himself up. And soO needs time. He needs time to rebuild. The Lurkers are on the way. 3 Lurkers in production. Ooh. One good mine shot. That could spell the end here to soO. We catch a tank. Good mine shot here on the Lings. Ooh, some very nice mine shots here as well. Aye. Lings are being cleaned up back at home. Meanwhile, across the map, one of those Lurkers gets sniped, and soO, he's in a lot of trouble. At this point, he's in a lot of trouble. Bunny has rebuilt. He's remaxed. He's recovered from his earlier losses. Bunny's already back at 200 supply. And soO, he is desperately going for a Ling counterattack, but this is not worth it. Nowhere near. How many Lings are just thrown away? 196 Lings! Oh my god! 196 Lings were just killed, and I'm curious, where's the mineral bank? Well, that's where it was. That's where the mineral bank was, and there we go, we're pushing in. Parasitic bombs here on the libs. Lane Bane tries to crash into the ground army, but the splits are good. The splits, they were more than good. We break on through. GG gets cold, and Bunny will take game number 1. Ooh, GG. GG, well played. Bunny was caught out a couple of times there, and I was really excited to see soO reset the ghost count in a sense and try to keep up, but we saw that soO just was bleeding out too much, throwing away too much. Again, the fact that he lost almost 200 lings over the course of 2 fights was crazy, and it was just burning through his bank far faster than he was building up his bank. And with that, GG, Bunny just trading too efficiently. In the end, Bunny does take the win in game 1, but now we're getting into game number 2, and I'm curious to see if we adjust. Again, Bunny went for a very passive style. He was very defensive, very macro-oriented. He was just chilling, waiting, and really only focusing on drop harass more than anything. Before eventually, at the 10-minute mark, he started actually moving out with his main army. I wonder if the approach will change as we're loading into Site Delta. A very different map. Let's go. Let us go. Here we go. We're getting into game number 2. Looks like we're discussing a little bit about potentially Dark. Potentially as the reason as to why Dark isn't going to be competing in this event. Potentially. As we're getting into our next game. And spawning in the top left-hand corner of Site Delta, we have our South Korean Terran player, the Blue Terran. Representing himself, currently teamless, but leading the series 1-0. It is Bunny. And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the South Korean Zerg player, the Red Zerg, representing himself, also currently teamless. It is soO. Maybe we spoke about it. We don't know the specific date as to when Dark is going to be conducting his military service. We know it's soon TM, but we don't really know when exactly. And a big reason as to why Dark isn't going to be competing in these qualifiers is maybe because he can't travel, or it's difficult to travel at the moment for him, just because it's nearing and getting closer. That's merely speculation. Like, we don't know for certain. It's also possible that specifically getting the visa that he would need to travel to China is a little bit harder, and maybe it's going to be a little bit easier for him to travel to the Americas for DreamHack Dallas, for example. I don't know if Dark is going to be involved in that, or even the later event in Saudi Arabia, Gamers 8, or the Esports World Cup. I'm not sure if he's going to be a part of that either, but, you know, we'll wait and see. We'll wait and see and find out if Dark will be a part of those events. I do hope he can, but especially because I think he's qualified. I'll have to double check whether or not he has qualified for some of those events. But we shall see. We shall see. Here we go. Now we're getting into game number 2. For now, nothing too crazy. It is going to be a Rax expand once again from Bunny, so the same opener for the time being. If you remember, winding it back a little bit, last game he did go for a 3cc before Starport into Liberator Harass into 8 Hellions. Was a relatively standard game out of him, but very passive, because in the follow-up he refused to go for any earlier pushes, just relied on drop play until around the 10-minute mark. I expect that kind of playstyle to change and adjust for Bunny here on Site Delta, so we'll keep an eye out for any kind of deviations from our Terran player. Meanwhile, from the side of our Zerg, last game soO did go for a lair first. Went for a lair first into Bailings, into delayed 1-1 upgrades. Nothing too crazy. I mean, in general, he was able to keep up with Bunny for the most part. I say for the most part, the 8 Hellion Harass of Bunny did cancel the 4th base of soO. That was kind of the first step of Bunny gaining momentum, is he canceled the 4th, and then he relied on drop play to kill queens, kill drones, and get ahead economically in the early to mid game, which Bunny was able to successfully do. So we'll see if that success can be replicated. Until then, we're going to be easing into game number 2. Bunny back at home once again, 3rd CC before Starport. To have a tech lab on the way. I'm curious if we're going for an add-on swap, or if we will be going for a faster stim. We'll see what Bunny has in store for us as Hellions are amassing, and we are going for the add-on swap. We are opening up Banshee. Okay. This is kind of the meta opener. 3cc Banshee here. Nothing fancy this time from Bunny. No Liberators. Hellions going to be poking in. They are going to be zoned away by the Queens, as they just poke and prod, looking for a way in that they should not find. Behind this, there's Banshees, there's Cloak alongside it, getting into our 2-1-1 setup, until eventually 3-1-1 setup. 3 Raxes. And it's going to be on soO to make sure that he's able to keep up with his Queen movements and make sure he doesn't cut too much when it comes to Lings. If he has too few Lings, and if Bunny sees an opening, then he will go for a dive. And what that refers to is diving into a mineral line. I say that, but we're actually getting out of Hellion production a little bit earlier. This time we've only made 4. Only 4 Hellions for Bunny. He hasn't gone into 6 or 8. So very light Hellion commitment here, getting into much faster add-on swaps, much faster in general Marine production. So Bunny only making the bare minimum to have a presence on the map. He isn't really looking for damage the way he was last game. Not yet, at least. Not until we get into our drop play and into our Banshees. Meanwhile, the Hellions take it in. Sorry, the Lings take it in. The Hellions are a bit out of position, and soO gets a free scout. He does confirm that Cloak is in production, does confirm the follow-up, also sees that there are no more Hellions in production either. So soO is fully aware of what's going on and is preparing back at home. We have Spores. A Spore here finishing up just in time for the Banshee. It is already done. Banshee gets 1 drone so far. Ooh, gets a second. 2 drones in the natural. There's a Spore done in the main, and a Spore not quite in position at the 3rd base. A little bit more exposed. There it is. Now it's on the way. As Bunny meets up with a 2nd Banshee. Ooh, and we're headed for that 3rd base. Again, we're going to find a couple extra drones here. The Spore seconds away from finishing. Oh, yeah, we're going to get 3 extra workers here at the 3rd before moving out. So far, that's going to be 5 worker kills. Pretty good damage so far here by Bunny. Meanwhile, soO did open up with a faster lair into Baneling speed, but we're actually going for, as we get our Evo chambers, even before the Evo chambers, that is going to be a Hydra Den. Very fast Hydra Den here by soO. Very greedy of a move to go for, especially considering that we are delaying our upgrades, and 1-1 is going to be a little bit off timing here, or it's going to be a little bit wonky from soO, but we're rushing into Hydras instead. Interesting choice. Now, we have seen the extreme of this. Scarlet, as of late, for the past couple of months, has been very fond of mass Hydra. I doubt that soO is going to embrace that as much because he's still investing in melee upgrades, but yeah, just really fast commitment into Hydras. We'll see if this pays off. I think this is a wise choice considering what happened in Game 1. If you remember, Bunny was quite successful with his drop play. He was actually achieving quite a lot of damage with his drops into the main, into the natural, into the 3rd, into the 4th, and soO was taking losses. So getting into faster Hydras suddenly means you can deal with drops a lot easier, at least the medevacs, I should say. So interesting choice here by soO. Behind this, you do see Bunny getting his 3rd up and running. 4th base already done at this point. Yeah, going to be landing on the location. Very similar playstyle compared to game number 1, where Bunny is not really being too aggressive. We've exceeded the 7-minute mark. By this time, we should be moving out with tanks, but no, we're chilling back at home, and we're only dropping as we take a fort. So once again, a much more defensive, passive style out of Bunny. Outside of the drop play, of course. Getting a couple of workers here and there. Does catch a couple of units. Banshees are getting across the map. They're looking for a cancel at the 5th. And the 5th base, it's going to be cancelled. Again, it's so close. So we get a kill as well on the drone. Nicely done there by Bunny. At the same time, Ling Bane does arrive here at the 4th base. We get a couple of SCVs. And we do manage to escape. So a nice bit of counter damage dealt here by soO. And he can always threaten a run by here towards the north. Oh, as a Widowmine is in position, so we have to be very wary here of how would you roll in. Bunny once again moving out with his double drop. Clearing up some creep. Getting a couple of Lings. Not much else as medevacs will escape. And you can see here, soO, how many Hydras did he make? He made 11 Hydras, and that was just Ling Bane. So it was just 11 Hydras just for safety, just to keep up with the anti-air. And now we're focusing on Ling Bane, getting 2 up and running. We did invest into the Hydra upgrades, both of them. But now we're just hyperfixated on Ling Bane. And we're not rushing into lurkers or anything like that, not yet. I'm sure that's on the horizon. I'm sure we want to eventually work towards Hive. And there it is. Infestation bit for the Hive tech. soO, his 5th was delayed. This is the rough part here for soO, is his economy isn't where it should be right now. He needs that 5th. He needs to saturate it. He needs to build up that bank. Is working on it as he knocks down these rocks. And soO, he's headed for these bases. There are some Widow Mines. Oh, he sees. Nice bait there on the first mine. And soO rushing on forward. Banelings are rolling in as well. And Bunny's out of position, by the way. Yeah, we go straight for the Planetary, and the Planetary is going to be going down. Or will it? It's so close. Ling Bane is going down. The Marines, they've arrived. Some decent Baneling connections, but there's just a little bit too much here for Bunny. He rolls on up. Again, soO, he spent so much of his Ling Bane on the Planetary that didn't die. It survived. The Planetary lives. Bunny outtrades his opponent, forces soO back. Did lose 15 SCVs. Like, the worker damage was good, but soO needed more. He needed more there. Again, the army was late to respond, so soO, he had free reign of this area, but this also meant that he did spend a lot of his Ling Bane not in the main fight, so he had so much less left over. And now Bunny has momentum, taking his own 5th, while soO is still getting his own 5th up and running. 6th hatchery on the way for Larva, of course. Liberators have arrived. 3-3 on the way here for Bunny as well. There's going to be a small window where he has 3-3 against a 2-2 of soO. Just going to be going off. And soO, it does feel like he's a little bit one step behind here, as Bunny's already working on Lib Ghost. Already working on those Liberators and Ghosts. The mine shot! Ooh, good connection here on the Ling Bane. And 5th base is going to be evacuated. Ling Bane rolling on forward. We catch some of the bio. Not a bad fight here for soO. Reinforcements finally arriving. Yeah, the mine shot's not quite going off. And soO is breaking through. He's barely breaking through, getting on top of the Planetary, and this time he will get it. The Banelings, they crash in. The base is going to go down. We get 27 SCVs, and we catch the Ghosts. We catch a good portion of Ghosts, and this is the fight that soO needed. Very quickly snowballing, and GG gets called. soO takes game number 2, tying up the series 1-1. Let's go. GG. A very quick and very decisive fight there from soO. Able to collapse on that 5th base just as Bunny was left exposed. Again, that 5th was so wide open, and Bunny wasn't quite stood up with all of his mines, with all of his army. So soO very quickly was able to take a fight there at the 5th, and very quickly rushed over towards the 4th base as well. Just made sure that he did not allow Bunny to recover. And with that, soO didn't have to worry about 3-3. Didn't have to worry about what Bunny was working towards, as he was able to cripple and take Bunny down then and there, just in time. And with that, we're getting into the ace match. We're getting into game number 3. Let's go. Go. And from here, we find ourselves in that ace match. And again, this is why we dove on this series. Like, we saw how well soO and Bunny have been performing recently, and for them to make it to the ace match, not too much of a surprise, but who makes it through? Again, it's a single elimination bracket. It's brutal, and I'm here for it. I'm ready for it. Only one player can advance on to a qualifying match, and spawning in the top right-hand corner of Solaris, we have our South Korean Terran player, the Blue Terran, representing himself, currently teamless. It is Bunny. And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the Red Zerg player representing himself as well, but forcing the ace match. It is soO. There we go. And we've seen the same opener, so I say the same. We did see a deviation out of soO. So we've had very similar openers where soO has been going for faster layers. Both in game 1 and game 2, he went for a faster layer into Banelings, delayed upgrades. Last game, he did mix it up by going for a faster Hydrogen as well, which I did like against Bunny. Again, just a very safe style, and it is quite punishing if Bunny is too aggressive with the faster Baneling speed and, of course, the faster Hydras. Did end up kind of leading into some overextensions, and Bunny definitely had his own opportunities in game number 2. But unfortunately, they did kind of pass him by, and soO was able to barely hit and cripple Bunny just in time. Oh. Sorry, that's just my keyboard disconnecting. Hold on, there we go. But we'll see how Bunny does adjust. As for now, Racks Expand, standard opener so far by Bunny, and on a map like Solaris, playing this like defensive style can be difficult. The reason why I say this is because of the speed zones. Speed zones, likewise, very wide open in the center of the map, especially when these rocks get knocked down as well. It can be quite dangerous to actually engage out here in the center. As a result, I wonder if Bunny's going to try and make use of this map and be hyper aggressive, or just try to avoid it and just turtle up instead. There are definitely ways to do that here on Solaris. Not easy by any means. Easy, but definitely possible. As Reaper moves out, does start his dance here against those Lings. Third base of soO has been taken. You see Bunny attempting to go for that Tumor, but Last does not get it. Tumor does survive. With that, soO, he is going to be able to hold on. And we're going to be able to settle into a bit of a longer game. Once again, at third CC before Starport. Economic opener here out of Bunny. We saw last game this led into Banshees. And with this repositioning, it looks like another Tech Lab. It looks like another add-on switch here for Bunny. Assuming he starts up the Tech Lab soon. Which he isn't. Never mind. Okay, interesting. No add-on swap here for Bunny. He's going Marine first. Looking to go for a Viking or a Liberator instead. There it is, Viking here. So with a Viking-based opener, you can shut down the Overlord. You can keep soO in the dark. You can deny any kind of scouting and hide what comes next. Tech Lab is on the way. This should just be for Stim. And this should be like Viking into Lib. We can spice things up a little bit further. But I don't really see Bunny going BC, for example. Like, he's not really that kind of player. Or he doesn't strike me as that kind of player. Yeah, Viking into Lib. Much more standard. Viking has right. The Viking revealing itself here to soO. A Liberator follow-up should be in the back of soO's mind, because it is very common. So he should be getting ready for that. As Hellions are being forced back. This time we do see Bunny investing a little bit more. If you remember last game, Bunny only made 4 Hellions. This time we're going up to 8. That's quite a lot, actually. Moving up towards 8 Hellions. Liberator on the horizon behind this. Now we're getting into full bio production. And this is very similar to how Bunny was playing in game 1. Very similar. As Hellions, they turn the Queens, they're going for it. Oh! We do have a clutch transfuse. We keep the Queen alive. soO does hold on. We'll lose an Overlord, but holds on to the Queens. Behind this, it's going to be a Baneliness first, actually. Okay. Very safe open out of soO. Baneliness followed by the Lair. Basically, this is meant to keep you safe against Hellbat pushes. So if Bunny was going for Hellbats, then soO would be safe. So just a very safe opener. Meanwhile, Liberator gets into the main base. Drones are going down. Larva as well. At the same time, we go for a big lane counterattack, and we do get a couple of SCVs. We trade 3 SCVs for 5 drones as we get into the mineral line. 7 drones go down. They got roasted. And Bunny, he is dealing damage. Not just the fact that Bunny's dealing damage, but the fact that soO went for a very inefficient opener. He went for a very safe opener, but still took damage. So this earlier Baneliness didn't really amount to much. It did delay the lair, which delays Baneling speed. It delayed the Evo chambers, which delayed the upgrades. So off of the opener, soO is slightly behind. It's not the end of the world, but just, you know, slightly when it comes to the game of efficiency. As you see Bunny rotating around. Once again threatening those mineral lines. Bunny getting his third base up and running, getting into tank production behind this. Working towards our second tank. I believe Bunny doesn't have the DPS to cancel a base, and yeah, he's going to retreat. But he does get eyes on where the fourth base is. soO once again going for the Hydrogen, this time later than that of Game 2. So a bit of a later Hydrogen, but a much more standard timing. Much more standard timing here as Bunny's actually going for a tank push. Okay, this is something that he has been avoiding this entire series, by the way. Remember, every game so far, Bunny, he's been just keeping his tanks at home, working towards a 4 CC by now, but no, this time we're pushing on 3 bases. The tanks are in position. We have our first tank, soon to be our second, and we do have links to respond. Baneling speed finishing up just in time. Yeah, we can clean this up. Oh, I say that, but we don't commit. Reinforcements arrive just in time. We have Hellions behind this. Bunny threading that hatchery, trading well with his Marines. And if the Lings ever try to dive, we have plenty of Hellions in the back line. soO in a lot of trouble. He's supply blocked. Not like this. Now is not the time. Hatchery goes down. Hatchery goes down. We Maynard those drones away. Yeah, Bunny, he kills the base. And from here, Bunny can either keep on pushing or rotate around towards the south instead. You can see the Viking we're checking. We're looking for the hatchery location. Bunny does confirm. Center base is being taken instead. And Bunny is repositioning. Denying so much creep, getting a queen. Does catch a queen. Big volleys off on the Lings as well. Now behind this isn't a 3-base all-in. Bunny is working on a 4th CC, is working towards 2-2. Creep is looking decent, but here comes a double drop from the right-hand side. Catch some tumors. Again, threatening bases. The 6th hatchery is going to be denied. Sorry, the 5th hatchery is going to be denied. The 4th is going to get up and running, just barely. But again, there's barely any creep covering the space. It's looking so vulnerable. Yes, soO, he does collapse on top of one of those tanks, but this is not worth it here. A bit of an overextension by soO. Takes some big tank shots to the face. Oof. Losing queens and barely gets a tank. He will clean this up. That was a costly trade, though. That costs us queens, hydras, lings, of course. But soO does hold on to that 4th. No 5th yet. Again, you can see that Bunny is in position to deny it. Hoping that soO were to expand here towards the south. But Bunny, he's on top of everything. Denies the northern base. Hatchery goes down. soO is being contained, and behind this Bunny, he's maxing out. He's on the cusp, on the brink of getting to that 200 supply. And soO is having a hard time keeping up. Oh, we do have a hive on the way. Again, we're taking up at least. But again, soO is still just struggling to hold on. Bunny just waiting for reinforcements, and now we're pushing. Good kiting here out of Bunny. Shaves off a lot of Lingbane. Up! Ooh, Mind Shot's going to be connecting here with the Ling Bane as well. And Bunny should be able to clean that up. At the same time, we do see soO denying a southern base. Does deny the CC. Does delay the 5th at least. Again, very important here that soO is as proactive as he is. And the creep is still looking good, at least in the center. We got some decent crease right here from soO. Is slowing down the aggression of Bunny, and soO is getting these bases up and running. Slowly but surely, they're getting there. He does decide to commit. Ooh, bleeding out a lot of Banelings into Marauders, though. That was not the ideal fight. Once again, turns around. Xiaomi's dance back and forth. At the same time, soO denies that 5th base once again. Making sure that Bunny cannot expand, and Bunny backs off. Okay, I like this. So Bunny, instead of pushing forward and trying to threaten these bases, he's more concerned about expanding and taking his own. He's like, okay, I'm gonna back off. I need to expand. I need to get this base up and running. So Bunny retreats, and soO, he finally gets some room to breathe. He can finally breathe. He can finally force his opponent to back off, and now we're taking more gases, joining on up. The Hive is done. Adrenal's on the way. Infestors as well. We have a couple of Vipers. soO is able to finally refine his army. He's got 1 Viper, 2 Infestors. No Lurkers, just Ling Bane Hydra with those spellcasters. 3-3 has yet to begin, which is concerning. There we go. 3-3 now on the way. It was delayed by a little bit. And there's going to be a big window where Bunny has that upgrade advantage. Ling Bane rolling in. The Banelings, they crash into the Planetary. Planetary goes down. We deny the 5th. Once again, containing Bunny here to 4 bases. And he needs another base. We'll land it this time as an orbital, not a planetary. It's going to be a little bit more vulnerable. So he gets a fungal. Oh, the fungal gets a full medevac as well. Very nice catch. Gets a medevac, shuts down some of those tanks as well. The tanks and the libs. Yeah, very nice fight here from soO, collapsing on the would-be ghost. No detection. The ghosts. Oh my god. We barely do crash in. We get a couple of ghosts. Was that 2? 3. 3 ghosts go down. Bunny backing up. Sorry, soO backing off. Meanwhile, Bunny dropping into the main. Ooh, in the midst of that attack, a big counter attack here. We blindside soO. Spawning pool goes down. It's a big pickup. Lings, they cannot be made. At least not until the spawning pool gets rebuilt. It's here at the natural. That will slow soO down. Behind this, Bunny still trying to expand. Is double expanding, actually. Expanding towards the south and the center. soO rushing right through the center instead. Liberator's out of position. We get an okay Mind Shot. Good EMP. Oh my god. EMPs were good, but what about the Banelings? We force a bit of friendly fire with that Widow Mine. A fungal does connect. And there are barely enough Banelings. soO, he's slowly breaking through. Needs a little bit more. He has pure Hydra. Not the most ideal army, and we are out of detection. The Ghost hold. The Ghosts, they barely hold on. And a very close fight there for Bunny. soO, if he had 1 Overseer, then he probably cleans up every single ghost there. But that was a really big defense for Bunny, because upon defending here in the center for Bunny, he gets away with his 2 expansions. That is a 5th and a 6th TC now getting up and running, now both turning into planetaries. That is huge. Can Bunny hold? so's remaxing is coming in again. Once again pushing through the center, avoiding the planetaries. Decent mining connections, we take down the lib. And we're pushing towards that natural as well. There is a tank to reinforce. More Liberators are arriving. The freedom is here. soO tries to ignore it. Goes to the Mineral Lines. He's dealing some damage, but he's still looking for more. And there we go. He's camping the production. Trying to at least. This is an efficient fight here for Bunny, but lose the tank. And soO, it looks like he may just have too much. Reinforcements on the way. He still has Lings in the main. Still has Lings in the main. He surrounds Bunny. Takes down a Ghost. Pushing to Liberator is always going to be difficult here, but soO, he's done what he's been looking for. Taking down Raxes, taking down the main base. And the Fungal catches the Ghosts. The Ghosts go down and the main has been broken. And soO, he's doing it. Finally, he has done it. He was under so much pressure earlier. He was really struggling to expand and take a 5th. But soO, he weathered the storm. He weathered the Bunny. Gets into the main. Shuts down the production. And soO is running away with this. And sure, Bunny, he finally expanded, right? He took these 2 bases, but at what cost? You know, again, soO, he recognized how vulnerable Bunny was in the center of the map. Or at this center ramp. It takes down the final Ghost as well. GG gets called, and soO will advance on into a qualifying match. Bunny is eliminated from the qualifier. GG. GG, well played. Congratulations here to soO as he makes it onto a qualifying match. A big win here for him. I was concerned. I was very concerned for soO, especially with Bunny in the driver's seat. Like, Bunny, he was in full control initially, just denying 4th base. Denying the 5th and the 4th even, time and time again. Giving soO a really hard time there in the early game. But something that was important that we were pointing out is that soO never allowed Bunny to take a 5th. He just never allowed that 5th base to get up and running. He was always there with Lings, with Banelings, constantly harassing, constantly in position to deny that base from landing. And even when that base was finally taken, soO was always there to knock it down. Whether it was a planetary, whether it was an orbital, he was always denying that base. Eventually, Bunny was able to take it, but by that point, soO didn't care. soO, he was going for the kill, going for the throat. GG. GG, well played. Congratulations. My condolences to Bunny. I'm a big Bunny fan. I do love him as a player, and unfortunately, Bunny, he won't be a part of this event. He won't be a part of StarsWar, unfortunately. Instead, it's going to come up to either soO or Classic to make a deeper run and make it into the closed qualifier. It was a big win for soO. Big win for soO. But it doesn't get easier from here. Up next, soO versus Classic. Let's go.